this pandemic has brought up an interesting issue that I don't think we talk about very often, but it has to do with the ability for systems to withstand stress, so basically the reliability or the breakdown rate of things. But in aviation, we think of it very differently than we do in the world of software or data or even a lot of things in this pandemic, right? In aviation, we really focus on the nature of the failure, whether or not it's going to kill you. So for example, in an airplane, a structural failure or a fire or a control system failure is very likely to kill you. But believe it or not, even in a single engine plane like this, an engine failure is very unlikely to kill you. And so we need to think about how the systems in society are distributed, and this pandemic gives us a chance to think about those things. So food supply, personal protective equipment, those types of things. And what's happened in the last, 2 decades or so, is a lot of these things have become very centralized. And in fact, they're more reliable that way. So putting your data in the cloud, or depending on a meatpacking plant that runs 24/7 and has all kinds of automated systems, might actually be a lot more reliable than having your own servers in the closet, or depending on your local butcher shop, where the one guy that's the butcher could get sick and disappear for 3 days, and he doesn't produce any product, right? But despite the fact that the server sitting in my closet has a much higher failure rate, or the local butcher shop has a higher failure rate than the centralized system, those failures, when they occur, are far less catastrophic. And I don't think we give enough credence to that issue when we sort of design the systems that we use in society. And again, we're a big believer in the cloud. We put tons of data in the cloud and all that, but we also do have servers on-prem in both of our offices that act as backups for that. So we're not totally out of business. But you look at it now, an internet connection failure used to just mean that your employees couldn't browse the internet or get certain bits of data, but they could still work, for example, locally in your office or in their home on their laptop. Nowadays, a lot of that's not even possible. And so the failure modes have become more catastrophic. Same thing we see with the distribution systems, shipping, food processing, all that.
X-ray contact SoCal approach 124.3.
20.3, good 8 X-ray.
Okay.
SoCal departure, warning.
Morning, SoCal, Lancer 92 Sierra X-ray 9.5 for the Hollywood Park.
92 Sierra X-ray SoCal, Los Angeles, South 269 and 94.
942 X-ray. So, in any case, I think there's a couple things we can do about that, and one is we can purposely invest in systems that are more distributed. In other words, buy things from multiple vendors, buy things from local vendors, and our company and myself personally have really been doing that even before the pandemic, but now it's definitely been in the forefront of my mind. And the second thing is you can create some of your own distributed systems. So I had an equipment failure in the airplane a while back. I had actually stocked a bunch of electrical connectors. It cost me a few $100 to stock them, no big deal. But it was really important because not only did I have that, but I also had made a relationship with a vendor for that type of equipment here in the United States. So I didn't have to wait 3 weeks for a shipment from China, which might not even come for a while based on the pandemic. And I was back up and running in a few hours of work and less than $1,000 of effort, or $1,000 of investment. That never would have happened if I just depended on a centralized network where I got the parts and the airplane maintained at some sort of a maintenance shop or dealer somewhere and didn't have my own supply, that kind of thing. So those are just things to think about. I realize it's not possible to stock and manage everything in your life, but certainly as a business, we're looking at how we distribute our network and our resources, and also keep local economies and local people working for that reason. It avoids that incredibly killer catastrophic failure. So I'd love to hear your stories about what you do and how you make these things work. As always, I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thanks.